Hello, you absolute legends of PlatformCon. This talk is about the ideal collaboration between architecture and platform teams. Before I begin, really shortly about myself. So, I'm a Croatian, I live in Ireland. Uh, I've written a book about cloud adoption, I've written another one about cloud security. I worked with top AWS, Azure, and GCP customers in the past, and currently I help manage a global reinsurance platform for the company that I currently work for. Hopefully that gives you some flavor about my experience in the past and why you should listen to me. I'm also, of course, always looking for feedback, so please reach out to me. At the end, there will be a LinkedIn uh, URL that you can go to and reach me directly. Also, please feel free to use all the PlatformCon capabilities that you can use on the day when this talk is published. So let's start with the ideal collaboration between architecture and platform teams. In the next 15 minutes, I will try and give you some tips for you to, um, apply in your own lives, or just reflect on and figure out that do they work for you, what would work better for you, or maybe just give you some insight on how you should think about the collaboration between these two teams. Um, so the first one is a tip for the architects. The architect team should clearly communicate all the non-functional requirements like scalability, security early in the design process. You can see that that makes it makes a lot of sense. It's a common sense thing, but you'd be surprised how often this is violated. So the theme throughout this will be very clear communication for between the teams themselves. Uh, the next one is that the architect team should actively seek input from the platform team on the feasibility and implications of architectural decisions. Right. Uh, I come from a sort of more architectural background in the recent past, and I know that it sometimes feels difficult to reach out to the roles that might not be the part of your architectural team, but you should I personally encourage this, and I really like working with the rest of the team, especially the platform team, on the feasibility and implications of all our decisions. Right, I'm happy to make mistakes, and I make a lot of them, and I'm happy to be corrected by the platform team, or just they might raise some awareness about the platform that I have forgotten, didn't think about, or just don't know about. Um, the architect team should also provide well defined interface specifications and contracts for platform services they intend to consume. Again, this is a very common sense one again, and it's again about communication. So hopefully the theme is now beginning to emerge. But the idea is, if we don't do this, if we don't clearly define these interfaces and contracts, well, then there's a lot of back and forth between the teams. Oh, you didn't tell us this. Oh, you forgot to tell us that. Oh, we thought A, but you actually meant B. So well defined interfaces are always great. Including in other areas, not just the communication between the architecture and platform teams, but because it's so essential for these teams to work together and for the implementation of the platform, it absolutely makes sense that these should be clearly communicated. Uh, the architecture team should also participate in the roadmap discussions. Hopefully, you normally do this very often, right? Or whenever the need arises. But it's basically helps to align application needs with the platform evolution. And again, if you remember the first step, it's all about clear communication. It's not making decisions from high on, from at the very top, and then expecting the other team to sort of comply. It's working together and understanding this. So do I think that architecture teams should have platform discussions alone? No. Do I think uh, any team should actually have those discussions alone? No. It should always be a collaboration between the teams. So another thing that the architect team should also do is offer feedback. I know this is difficult, but some people take feedback well, some don't. But it should always be offered. It should be offered in a well mannered, good good team work away, just because so we can so everybody on the teams can understand the platform capabilities and identify areas for improvement based on the development experience. Um, that also goes more broadly. We should collect feedback from everybody using the platform, including our customers, to understand where and how we should improve. So then a few tips from the platform team. The platform team should proactively communicate any platform capabilities, limitations, especially, and upcoming changes to the architect team. Again, this is just the other way around, right? So if the architecture team communicates well with the platform team should communicate well with the architecture team. So it goes both ways. So I'm guilty of this a lot. I would, in an idealized world, I would, consider, oh, we should use a service, say from Azure, which then turns out that yeah, it could work that way, but there's a few limitations that I didn't think of. So soliciting feedback and getting feedback from both sides would be great, if you can manage within your own teams, right? And again, it might be that a platform team raises a limitation and then we work together to solve it. They might raise a limitation that might not turn out to be a limitation, but maybe it's a misunderstanding between us. So it's good to communicate again. The platform team should provide clear documentation and support for the services and infrastructure they offer. So a recent example. So, for example, from the architecture team, we sort of came up with a global networking solution and how we would want to have it. So, so in order, so it works from on premise, so it works between different services, between different regions, and so forth. But uh, the actual implementation of it then depends on the platform team more than it depends on the architecture team. So, for example, I wouldn't want to be involved in specifying every single subnet that the platform team wants to use. It's perfectly up to them to pick and choose. Things like that. It's just one example, right? It's not a it's not a definitive example. It's just one I encountered recently, right? But I would then also expect to see a list of the subnets and how they are, distributed between the applications, the services, the different teams, right? When I go look for them, I don't want to have to annoy somebody on the platform team, and if they can just point me to a page that I could read it from, or I should already know about the page, right? So the platform team should also solicit feedback from architects, right? It's another thing, right? So as the platform is evolving, the platform team is working with the architect, but sometimes they make changes, they do make decisions which they're fully entitled to, but the architects should be aware of them, right? Especially on the usability and effectiveness, right? Sometimes from the architecture perspective, it absolutely makes sense to have these services interact in these ways, but maybe from an engineering or platform or other ways, yet that just doesn't work for whatever reason. So we can then figure out how to improve it, or just sort of be mindful of it. The platform team should also involve architects in the design and planning of new services and features. That sort of makes sense, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Uh, and it's here to just remind that is, a strong requirement. It goes the other way around, right? So any design and planning on the architect's part should also be discussed with the platform as well. The platform team should offer guidance and best practices on how to effectively leverage platform services in application architectures. This goes beyond just working with the architecture team, but if the architecture team understands that guidance and these best practices, they can then also make decisions, on future directions for the platform. Does it make sense to make changes? Does it make sense to improve on something like this, so it actually improves for everybody? But unless we communicate together effectively, we wouldn't know about it. So then, a few tips that might not be sort of common sense or top of mind so much, but they've been very, very helpful for me at least. So the architect team should embed on occasion with the platform team, because spending time directly with the platform team fosters empathy for operational realities and constraints. You'll see, like this talk is all about the blurring of those lines between those two teams, and this one is just similar to that. It absolutely makes sense to work closely with the platform team, and sometimes maybe take a few tasks on from the platform team, just to understand how it all works and works together. The platform team should create a customer success role, or however they want to call it, right? But specifically for the architect team, so just so we have a point of contact that architects' needs are addressed, and then we can all ensure platform adoption, right? So these are just sort of, not very top of mind, but very useful tips potentially, right? So then let's just go into how to improve the relationship, right, between the architecture team and the platform team. One way is to establish regular communications channels and forums for both teams to share updates, discuss concerns, right? So, for example, in my current role at the moment, from the architecture side, we've established a SharePoint site called um, architecture community, where we publish everything we do and discuss. We should also foster a culture of mutual respect and understanding of each other's team's constraints and priorities, right? That absolutely, again, makes sense. We should encourage cross-team collaboration on key initiatives and problem-solving efforts. Again, the theme is collaboration, collaboration always. Uh, Clear roles and responsibilities should be defined for both teams in the software development lifecycle, just so it's very clear when the platform team should say, that's an architecture decision, we should talk to them. Even though it's not a solely architectural decision, it's we work together. But it makes sense to point the finger at the other team and say let them handle it, and the other way around as well. We should create shared goals and metrics to align both teams towards common objectives. This is a similar pattern for teams like SRE and just in general the business goals. So I think it follows the same theme. We should jointly train and share knowledge between each other, between the teams, to enhance the understanding of each other's domain. That absolutely makes sense. There should be a transparent process for escalating and resolving conflicts or disagreements. I've been lucky in my roles that there's few conflicts, right? So I did, that's not something that should happen all the time. If it's happening all the time, well, then it should be addressed. There's an issue there, but there's always times when I want one thing and maybe somebody on the platform team wants another, and we just can't agree. So fair enough. There should be a process to escalate and resolve. And again, this isn't escalate and resolve maybe are two harsh words, but it just means we should again improve together. We should regularly review and refine engagement processes to ensure that they remain effective and efficient, right? So that goes back to the previous thing. There shouldn't everything shouldn't lead to an escalation, is what I'm saying. But if it starts to, well, then maybe we need to redefine the engagement process. We should celebrate success together, right? That makes absolutely sense for all the teams in the company. We should encourage informal interactions and team building activities, right? Between different teams. That also makes sense, right? That's again just a general view of how businesses should operate. Uh, and I'm probably very, not the best at it. What I usually tend to do is, I'll do my thing, you do your thing, and then, that's how we collaborate. But it absolutely, I've seen evidence of, going to the office or to an offsite or, doing something together which doesn't potentially relate to day-to-day activities, just so we, understand each other better. This goes especially for the teams that are geographically distributed as well. So this has been the ideal collaboration between architecture and platform teams. Hopefully, nothing surprised you there. Hopefully, the theme is clear, and also hopefully you can share your views as well. So please, how do you feel about the relationship between the architecture and platform teams? Any tips you want to share? And then finally, as I've mentioned, this is where you can find me on LinkedIn. I'd be very glad to talk to you about any of the topics from this presentation, or for something else that you have in mind regards to cloud, to security, to platform, to adoption, to any of that. So thank you very much. And hopefully these 14 and a half minutes have been useful to you.